How you doing, everybody? Thanks for stopping by and joining us today for another Rollin' Over the Hill right here on the Live to Roll channel. I'd like to thank our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals. They're a great and helpful group of experts that are very much part of our community and help make things possible here at the Live to Roll channel. Today's guest, we have a special guest. His name is Richard Bell. He is part of Pushrim, as well as being a fantastic artist, and we'll talk more about him and his life as a spinal cord injury survivor. How you doing, everybody? My name's Robert Soto. I'm a T12 spinal cord injury from a motorcycle racing accident 50 years ago. And now let's get started. I'd like to introduce my co-host, Bobby. We'll be joined by Luis in just a little bit. What's going on, Bobby?
Thanks a lot. Hope everyone's doing well out there today. My name is Bobby Rohan, C5, C6 quadriplegic, almost 35 years this month, living in Southern California, enjoying it. And I know we got Luis coming in, but it is an honor to bring a good friend of mine, Richard Bell, to our show today. I've known Richard since a few weeks or a month after he got out of the hospital. And he can tell us how long ago that was. I think it was like 20 years, but welcome, Richard.
Thank you. Glad to be here. And like Bobby, I'm a C5-6 quadriplegic from a rollover accident in a convertible.
Yikes.
But I'm glad to be here, though.
Nice. I know it might be looking like we're breaking up on our end, but in the streaming, it's probably running fine, Richard. Welcome. So how long has it been? I didn't quite catch it.
That was in 2002, so like over 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like 20,
Wow.
22 years ago. Yeah. So, tell us about yourself, before your injury, and what was life like for you before your injury?
Oh man, I partied hard back then too. But no, I was an IT professional. Um, uh, I worked I worked for the government first, but then I worked in the private sector and up in Silicon Valley. Made a lot of money, bought a sports car. Um, Decided to drive it on a drizzly day, which is a no-no. And yeah, I was in the wrong lane. I lost control on a freeway ramp and flipped over onto a transition road and broke my neck C5, C6. Um, I was on life support for 3 months, been at Rancho for another three, and that's where I met a lot of you crazy guys. And and then from there, just starting to rebuild life again.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So,
What am I missing? I
well, let
think
me
I'm missing the. Oh yeah, you can ask the questions, please.
let me ask you this. So you said life support for 3 months. Your accident, was it crushed lungs or why the life support?
Um, I had a collapsed lung. Um, I don't know. I woke up and I was on life support. I don't know, but I know I had a collapsed lung and I couldn't breathe on my own for a little while. So that's all I know about that.
Yeah. Uh, so you're an IT guy when you say you made a lot of money, and what type of like IT, and what were you doing?
I worked for a small consulting firm called CSI. Stands for Customer Services and Integration, and we had contracts with all these big companies like Southern California Edison, the County of Alameda up in San Francisco. Um, Also, Union Bank of California. That was my biggest project. And what we did was we basically revamped their whole antiquated computer systems and modernized everything. So
Excellent.
that's the
Yeah.
bulk of what I did. Yeah.
Well, Luis, you've got to know something about that, right?
Yeah, I was IT for 35 years. And I did a lot of what Richard's talking about, but in Southern California. So
Yeah.
places like
Yeah.
banks and studios and things like that.
Right
And
on.
so that drizzly day comes along. How old were you, Richard?
I was 32 or 33. I think I was 33.
33.
Yeah.
So, and so what was rehab like? Up, you survived 3 months of being on a ventilator. What was it like? I mean, rehab, Rancho, how long were you there?
Man, rehab was a trip because, like you, all of a sudden, you don't have that physical ability you used to have. So, and then the whole time through rehab, it was just about figuring out what's possible, what I could possibly do, and trying to figure out what kind of function I could regain. Um, doing all the torturous exercises. But then you also get to hang out with a bunch of like-minded kind of cool people. So
Yeah. And you were in rehab for how long?
just 3 months. I think I
Yeah.
got there like the end of December, and I got out sometime in March.
Yeah. And I remember it was shortly after you got home. Somehow, I don't know how you guys got a hold of Wings, but I came over to come visit you. And I remember you were fresh meat sitting there at the table. I think you were still on the big power chair. And
Yeah.
I remember your wife was feeding you. And I'm like, you know what? He can feed himself. And I'm sure Richard's looking at me like, hey, listen here, a-hole,
Mind,
life is
mind
pretty
your
good
own
right now
business.
with my wife feeding me, so fuck off, dude.
No,
I'm like,
no, no, it wasn't like that, man. I was glad to feed my own self, but yeah, I
yeah,
just didn't know I could. So yeah, with the help of some custom forks, boom, I was off and running.
yeah, I think were those the one, did I give you those?
You gave me one, and then I had my friend who fabricates a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
He fabricated some more for me.
Awesome.
But
Yeah.
then, eventually you figure out you don't need those. So now,
Right.
and I kept losing them. I kept leaving them at restaurants.
Yeah, I think that's what it came down for me too. It was like, oh crap, I don't have my utensil. Well, let's give it a try, and then you just start doing it.
Yeah, you figure it out. But like everything, when I first got injured, I could barely move my arms. So the first goal was to get to that bar across the street. So in order to do that, I had to push the elevator buttons, and so I had to keep trying. I got stuck in the elevator so many times at first. But finally, I got the elevator button, and then I had to figure out how to get out the door to my building. But then once I got out, I got across the street. They took care of me really well at the bar. So
That's awesome to hear, man. So, what was the first couple of years like? I remember once in a while seeing you from time to time. But obviously getting stronger, and eventually I saw you in a manual chair. From that power chair to
right,
the manual
right.
chair.
I went from the power chair to a power assist. They used to have this chair called the iGlide, and so I got one of those. And with the assist, it was possible to push like everywhere. So I was gone when I got that, and
Yeah,
that actually made me strong enough to where I could eventually finally graduate to a full manual.
awesome, awesome. And then so obviously you're trying to figure out life, and a little tidbit. I know when we were introducing you, we said of Pushrim, but formulate Pushrim because you're not with them. But you and
Right.
you and
Right.
Ray Pizarro, started Pushrim, and tell us a little bit about the background of Pushrim. And for anybody who doesn't know, you can look it up on YouTube. And that was like 10 years ago,
Yeah, it was a
15
while
years,
ago.
a while ago.
It
And
was like 10 years ago. Yeah, that's right. Jeez.
a
But
little
yeah,
bit
no,
longer.
yeah, Ray and I used to hang out all the time. And when I first got out of rehab and everything, there was no information online or anything about, what to do, or what we could do, what's possible. But, we hung out with a group of, guys like Bobby and all of them, and they were doing all this crazy, amazing stuff. And so we were like, man, we got to figure out how to let the world know that, there's life after injury. And so we just, I don't know, somehow came up with the name Pushroom. And because I was IT, I decided to try to use a platform to make it a social media network. And it was pretty cool for a while. People would get into the chat and talk about all kinds of stuff. People would post stuff about their lives, like regular social media. And
Mm.
and
It was
then
kind
Ray
of
got the
like
what's
the
that?
Facebook of for the disabled.
Right.
We were all disabled, and um, like how many members do you remember how many you got up to? Probably.
I'm sure a couple of thousand,
Yeah.
but I can't remember specifically.
Right.
But then and then from there, Ray got the good idea to do the podcast. So we did the Push Room podcast for, man, I think almost 70 episodes or so. And then and then at that point, I started getting really busy doing other stuff. So I had to depart from the board and focus on other things.
On your artwork, which I know we're going to talk
Yeah.
about in a second. But so uh, tell us a little bit about how the podcast worked and a little bit of what kind of subject you brought on, because it was in a way similar to us. You just weren't live, if I'm not
No,
mistaken.
no, no, no. We did it the hard way. Well, we filmed it with our iPhones basically. We used Final Cut Pro to edit everything afterwards. Um, we used Ray's condo for the most of the recording in the beginning till we finally had to we got a studio somewhere downtown that we were able to use. And the guests were just anybody we thought was interesting. And we talked about like people's personal stories. So we would find people that were doing interesting things and brought them on. And then we brought on medical professionals to talk about, different areas of therapy or whatnot. Then we also did like a few product reviews, stuff like that. So just a lot of stuff just to make it, interesting.
And you can still see those right on YouTube.
They're still on YouTube. I think it's Club Pushrim. It's like one word, Club Pushrim. If you
Oh,
search
cool.
that on YouTube, all of them should pop up. Because it's on the internet. It's like internet's forever.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
that could be good or bad, right?
That could be good or bad. That's for definitely true.
yeah, once it's on the internet, it never leaves, huh?
Right.
And you're saying so you got in pretty busy. Was that because of the artwork and why you had to step back from Pushroom?
Yeah. The art. Yeah. Trying to build an art career is like, man, it's a monumental task. It's
And that's
you have to get out. Well, first you have to do the work. Then you have to find where to show the work. Then you have to have somebody help you cart the work and set up, depending on what kind of shows you're doing. So yeah, the Beverly Hills Art Show is the one I was doing a lot early. And there, it's on you to get everything set up. And it was a struggle every time. It was really hard to get it set up, but
And,
um,
and
it worked out. I mean, it was.
Was art part of your life before your injury?
Oh yeah, I think I have to back up because we
Yeah,
were talking about pre-injury
and
stuff,
I think
and that,
if Shawn, if you can show a couple of the pictures before his injury, we have there's one with you in the car. I was wondering if that you sent me, and I was wondering if that was the car you had your injury in.
not the Ferrari, but that gray BMW. No, the Ferrari is just the car I had. Because before I got into everything, I worked for independent Ferrari Costa Mesa, and we used to restore a lot of exotic cars. And this is when I had a hand in restoring, so I got to, enjoy it for a while before one of the partners sold it out from under me. But it was actually honestly a piece of crap, to be honest. That car gave me so much anxiety. But yeah, the car I rode was the BMW though. So, but so back then, okay, so back in college, I was pre-med, and I used to, have to draw all the structures to try to remember, the names of everything. And then I had to take an elective, and I was like, oh, art sounds easy. So I took that class, and I realized, oh shoot, I can draw. And I had an uncle who was pretty famous. He was a famous artist up in the Bay Area. So fast forward years later, when I'm heavy into IT, I showed my uncle some of my charcoal drawings, and he said, "You can paint." And I was like, "Bullshit," you know. I don't know if we could say the whole word on here,
Yeah,
but
you
anyway,
can.
so um, so I started hanging out with him in the evenings after work. Yeah, right there. That's it. That was in his loft in his studio. And we painted, we talked, smoked a lot of weed, and and he's my great uncle too. He's like 72 years old. And but the whole time we were just hanging out, partying. He was actually teaching me, and I didn't realize it until years and years later. Like he taught me everything about art. And then I had to travel a lot for work and stay in a lot of hotels. So I'd always just bring my sketch pads and stuff and just keep up on, drawing and whatnot. And then after the accident, um, I had to get back into it, but my arms were too weak. So it took a long time before I could actually. I remember doing some sketches, and I would have to stop every 5 minutes because I didn't
Hmm.
have. I would just run out of strength. And then like 10 years after that, after I was all pushing, we were competitively pushing the manual chairs and everything, so I was getting really strong.
Yeah.
Then art wasn't really on the in the forefront of my head, but I don't know if you guys know Carlos Benavides.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yo, you should come to the Art of Rancho show. Come check it out." And I was like, I don't want to see a bunch of gimpy artwork. Like, I did not want to go, but I went anyway. And actually, it blew my mind. I was like, damn, these people are actually doing the thing. I mean, the art was pretty freaking good. I couldn't believe it. So then Carlos is like, you got to be in it next year. And I'm like, oh shoot, I got to start drawing stuff. If I'm going to be in the show. And that's what really lit the fire. And then I started painting and whatnot, and got enough to do the show. I thought it was a successful show for the first one, and then I just kept painting and just doing more and more. Then what really got me going was I went to a benefit. I think it was a Miss Wheelchair pageant, but it was up near Calabasas somewhere, and they had artists there. It was this lady, Kristen Bryn. She had this beautifully presented artwork all around the walls of the venue. And I happened to have some paintings I did that were rolled up. I had just picked them up from somewhere. And they were sticking out of my backpack. And of course, she snatched them out to look at them. And then she was like, "Oh, we should get together. I know you live downtown. I live right over in Atwater Village." And that's how, hanging out with her, she was doing the Beverly Hills Art Show, and she introduced me to the lady that was like over the whole thing, and showed her some of my work on her phone. And the lady was like, "You have to apply. You have to be in the show." And that's how I started getting into the Beverly Hills Art Show. And then from there, you get more and more serious. You get to introduced to more and more different opportunities, and that's how basically it got started. To the point where
Cool.
now I'm in this gallery that I show at all the time. I just had a solo show in January, and I guess she likes me, so I get to. I mean, I'm showing work all the time here, so.
Cool. Cool. Hey, Richard, I know you mentioned about how you used to help your, was it your uncle? And you had to draw some of the anatomy pieces and things like that in the bodies when you're doing the pre-med. Were you a natural? Did you already have that gift of art before and you just kind of honed it throughout the years? Or did you have to, acquire the talent?
Man, I didn't know I could draw until I actually, I mean, like when I was drawing the stuff for anatomy, I didn't really, I didn't think about it as drawing. Um, but when I took the class and I saw my drawings next to like everybody, and I was just like, there's something here. So I think I just had the talent and I just didn't know it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I see the paintings behind you, and I saw some of the pictures that Bobby sent. I was blown away. But I'm jealous of people that can play piano and the people that can draw as good as you do. I mean, and paint and all that kind of stuff. That is something that I would love to do, but so I just enjoy it through my eyes and respect your talents and all that. So that's something that's a lot of people wish they had. So I know with you doing it before your injury. So what were the effects? Did you even think you could still do it after your injury? And you know how was the trial period or your development of it as now a quad?
Now I knew if I could just get put the brush or whatever I'm using, if I could put it in the right place on the canvas, I could draw. So I
Yeah,
knew that. And then the biggest challenge after my injury was just having the strength to, actually put the work in for a period of time till I can develop an image, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but the only, the only time I thought maybe I might be affected by something medical was literally this last August. I had heart failure, and that surgery was brutal. And after, I was in recovery, and I was like, "Oh shit, I don't think I could draw anymore." Like, I really thought that. And then, but I got back over here. I got back into the gallery. The director was like, "Hey, why don't you paint here?" And I'm like, "That's a great idea." And yeah, so the first painting I did when I came back was is behind my head.
You
But
can you can move to your side if you want, real quick, and do a little
yeah,
glimpse. But is that your favorite type? I mean, I know you've done. If you look at your Instagram, you see a lot of you know uh, famous people. Albert Einstein, I've seen a couple other famous, but mostly you do the female stuff. And is that
yeah,
your favorite? I mean, how could it not? But uh, what's your favorite type of artwork?
well, I mean, I'm a figurative artist, so I do have an affinity to drawing the physical form. But yeah, and then but see, the models that I use are my friends, and it's not just like they're just sitting there or whatever, but we actually have really deep conversations, and it's a whole experience with them, and then however they're feeling that day somehow mysteriously ends up being translated through the work. So it's all a process.
Wow,
Now,
interesting.
and so can people purchase your artwork, and where can they, or when can you have a show? When you do have a show that we can go, or and when
Yeah,
are
you
you
guys
guys
can come. Yeah, I mean, y'all can come. I have this work on display. The reception's the 23rd. So yeah, you're always welcome to come. But and I'm gonna have work this month, next month, and now I just got a whole shipment of new canvases. So I'm gonna be trying to bust out a lot of work for another solo show sometime this summer.
cool? And
Do you ever
I don't
do?
know. Go
Go
ahead,
ahead,
Bobby.
Robert.
Okay.
I was going to
I
ask.
just
Whoops. Do you ever do anyone in a chair? Being that we saw the pictures of some of your friends, and I don't think any of your models were them. But do you ever do any wheelchair sketches
No,
or?
I mean I have sketches, but nothing that I would show at the gallery yet. So I mean, I have friends like I have Angela and them, and they the Push Girls. They
Hmm.
always we talk about it all the time, but I don't know if they want to. I'm down, but we'll see. Maybe one
Yeah.
day.
Go ahead, Robert. Sorry
and
about that.
okay, yeah, that's right. I just I don't know if it's a awkward question or not, but so if I wanted to buy one of your portraits, what's the range of purchasing one?
Man, the gallery, dude. All right, so it's like almost embarrassing. I mean,
It's most not as
man,
embarrassing as asking.
because they have to keep the lights on here, so I
Yeah, yeah,
understand.
no, I
But
totally
yeah,
totally get it.
my work, my work, depending on size and stuff, goes from like 3,000 to like 9,000
Okay,
right
cool.
now. So so yeah, you're welcome to buy whatever.
And do you have a website that we can put in our description that people can look at your artwork besides your Instagram, or if they were interested in buying?
I mean, yeah, my website is um, rbellart.com.
Okay,
But
cool.
yeah, I have to update. I haven't updated it in a while. But it's still a viable website.
And we'll get that in our description so people can find you that way after
Yeah,
listening to this, and definitely check that out.
Right on.
yeah, no, because I know Richard, I recognize you because I've seen you around Rancho a few times before. I used to do a peer mentor there along with Bobby. Bobby got me in there, and so but yeah, I knew your name, but didn't couldn't place you until I saw your picture, and also that Bobby and I were talking. You had a lot to do with the artwork over at the OPB building at Rancho.
That ginormous
Yeah,
3D
yeah,
painting.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We put our some of our self portraits in there. So yeah,
Did
that
you
was
How
come
was
pretty
up
that
with
cool.
experience?
That was a fun
and
experience actually.
did you guys design that together, or somebody's idea and you
Well,
guys?
we had a couple of meetings, and basically um, we knew the design was going to be like in the form of a tree, and then I think we were representing the seeds with our work, so we had to do two images of ourselves so that when you go by, they would switch,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because of the 3D imagery. So yeah, it was cool. We didn't do a lot besides drawing our portion of it. It was I can't remember the brothers. There's two brothers that do that kind of large scale work, they did like the bulk of the work, of course.
Mm-hmm. And I think we have
So
some images. If Shawn, I think we have two images of you uh, uh, painting. One's a female and one's a piano artist. But um, tell us a little bit about, you know, when you're at the canvas. So you put the paintbrush in your glove, it looks like, or so.
jam it down into my glove and put it in between two fingers to hold it steady. And then after that, it's all good. I can just, as long as I'm strong that day, I can put the marks down when I need to.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's just the exact words I was going to say, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
And it's easier with the smaller or the bigger portraits.
I think for me, I like working on bigger ones. The smaller ones take a different level of like concentration and precision. That's kind of hard to get as a spinal cord injury, you know?
Yeah. And I'm not sure. You sent us a video of you doing a live, and it's sped up, but doing a live portrait. Shawn, let us know if you were able to put that up or if it's going to work or not. But um, I know I've gone to an Apple store to watch you do a live uh, painting, and that was pretty
Oh, did you
remarkable.
go to that? Oh, you went?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know you were there. Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. We went there with I think Ray and a couple of us, and so it was
I
pretty
was
remarkable.
I was so sick that day.
Oh, that's right. I
That's probably why I
remember.
don't remember. Yeah.
But tell us, so life now. I mean, you said, we talk about uh, the show is rolling over the hill with, you know, 50 years with Robert Soto and 39 or 38 years, or how many years, Luis?
44.
44, yeah, and I'm 35. So we talk about aging. So tell us about your aging process. I know you said something about your heart
Yeah.
failure. Over time, tell us, I remember, when you were the youngster at 35, uh, you know, you were pushing your manual chair but over time I've seen, some changes with you if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, man, we used to push. Sometimes we would go on the beach and challenge ourselves and push like 10 miles. I mean, Bobby is there, he knows.
Mhm.
Um, and but I think what happened with me, what really started to age me was when withdrawals from got off of all my meds, and I had one med in particular that was just awful, the withdrawals. And after I stopped taking it, I started getting these crazy spasms. And then so it was like danger. It got really dangerous to push. I kept face planting and getting concussions all the time. And then I got the ZX1 because it gave me more stability. And and I didn't want to give up my manual chair.
Or do you do it yourself? I should say that first. Are you doing the paint? You're mixing and all that stuff, or How does that
Well,
work?
the mixing and all that, yeah. But to put I need help getting the paint on the palette, out of the tubes or whatever I'm using. And Maria helps me a lot, one of my models, and 'cause she's actually an artist too. She's pretty good in her own right. And then
Hmm.
my wife will help me, but when I'm at the gallery director is extremely helpful.
Awesome.
So, and then yeah, she helps me clean the brushes and the stuff I can't do that well. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, once I get it on the palette, sometimes I use two, one to just put the individual colors, then I'll use a blank one to like bring the color over to mix, whatever hue I want. So
That's amazing.
that's how
So
that
we were talking
works.
about your aging. I know, Luis, you had
Oh
a
yeah,
few
yeah,
questions.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was getting into
Yeah.
that. Yeah, with the yeah. So one day I detached. I had to detach from my ZX1, and I thought it'd be a good idea to push. And I was on a uneven pavement, had a huge spasm, went straight back and hit the back of my head. Had the worst concussion ever. Like I've had so many concussions, but this one was different. I had symptoms for something like 6 months.
Oh,
I had no sense of time. Like if I had a conversation with you yesterday, I would know if I had that conversation 3 months ago. Like it was, I had trouble reading. I couldn't paint. Yeah, it was really bad. And then after that,
In
my
fact,
wife was like, "You're getting a power chair."
I kind of remember one of those days because uh, you were fifth to pick or second to pick, I think it was, and you picked Trey Lance as your first pick as a
Oh my
you
God! Yeah, we had I had the concussion. I had the concussion during the time that we had the our fantasy draft. So yeah, that
also
was
like,
not
what is
good.
Richard doing picking Trey Lance first, and then I think in the third round he picks another quarterback like Russell Wilson or something. And it was like, yeah,
Horrible,
you could tell you weren't the.
horrible.
I think you
so
had a couple questions, Luis.
yeah, I wanted to ask, do you also do other media, different paints? Maybe not whether it's
Oh
oil
yeah,
or
yeah.
water or clay or any number of media.
No, but mostly acrylic and oil. Um,
Mhm.
and usually on my paintings, I usually start them with acrylic because the color is richer. But see, there's benefits and negatives to both. The acrylic, it dries so fast and it doesn't blend well. But the color is vibrant.
Mhm.
The color is undeniable. But
Yeah,
oils, they're more translucent and they take forever to dry. So that's why I
Mhm.
usually. Oh, and you can only do it. You can only do it that way. You can only do acrylic first and then oil. If you try to do it the other way around, your painting won't last. Eventually, the acrylic will slough off.
Mhm. So now the question every artist hates: what media don't you like? That you think, oh, I've had enough
Oh,
of that. I'm
it's
not
easy.
doing that again.
Watercolor. I do not do watercolor.
Hmm. Too
and
too much work
No,
or the blending.
no, it's just uncontrollable to me. It's just frustrating. Like I won't touch it.
and
It's the thing you want to avoid.
and you said you started with charcoal. Do you ever do charcoal stuff?
Yeah, charcoal is that was the first thing. And charcoal is like it's messy, but it's crazy good. Like it's easier to control the values, and a lot of people you can even use an eraser to take away value. So you can really make some wonderful looking art using charcoal.
Mm-hmm.
I
Nice.
used to do all my sketching on the canvas with charcoal, and then use
Hmm.
workable fixable to spray fix it, and then do the painting, and then paint over the charcoal using that as my reference.
Mm-hmm.
How about any pencil work?
I mean, pencil, pen, all that stuff to me is I can draw with all of it. Yeah.
Nice.
And I know you do some. You used to, or you told me at one time, you start like an idea on your iPad and then put
Yeah.
it up. Do you still do that? And like, what program for
Yeah.
somebody out there
Yeah.
that might?
Yeah, definitely. Procreate is because I mean I have a ton of sketch pads at home, but with Procreate I don't have to worry about setting the sketch pad up on the easel and then flipping the page when I'm done. Digitally, it's just so easy to do all of that. And with the pencil, if I want to use a pen or a charcoal pencil on my tablet using Procreate, it's just
Uh-huh.
you just pick the brush or the pen you want to use, and you can draw out. So I like to draw out conceptually, draw out. Especially when I have a new model, I do a lot of sketches to figure out how to draw this girl, and then once I figure it out, then get to painting.
Cool.
Nice.
I have a question. So now with you progressing in your career and everything like that, getting to your reaching your goals and things like that, what artists has inspired you, or what inspires you now as an artist? What other artists?
Oh man, if you're going to be a good artist, you have to. It's the study is constant. I still take a class every week, and
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I mean, the time drawings that's one thing, but it's the lecture that now my art teacher, he was a 100-year-old former UCLA art professor, and he would give these fabulous lectures. But one of my models is the one that turned me on to him, and that's how I started taking this class. And she is well versed in art, and then so he finally passed away just not too long ago. But she started taking over, and she's doing the lectures as good as he was. So,
Wow.
and with these, you see, we talk about not just the kind of art we do, but she'll talk about soft sculpture, pottery. I mean, she shows us all different kinds of art, and from there, you can get ideas on how to approach your own work.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we also talk about other painters from all over the world. So, yeah.
And
Nice.
one question I had is, after your that huge concussion and now you're in a power chair, was it any difficult to move around your art pieces or the canvas with your power chair than what it was like in your manual chair?
No, I mean, you learn to adapt. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
just like
it was no real big, yeah.
yeah,
But here's the
it's just
problem
like
with being a
everyday life, right?
photographer.
Just
Exactly,
adapting
just
like
like
everyday
everyday
life.
life.
Yeah, yeah.
But here's the difficulty as being in a chair and trying to paint is that your legs are in front of you, so you can't
Yeah,
really get
yeah.
close up to the canvas. So I used to paint with both hands, and before my injury, but because I can't, get up to the
Yeah.
canvas like that,
It's hard to be like,
I
oh.
can't, I just can't do it. So I have to kind of go to the side, and now I've just gotten used to painting with only my right hand now,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird for me, but I can still get it done.
Yeah.
And I know over
That's what
time,
matters.
is your arm getting, is that arm getting, like any pain or anything like that when you have a big piece or trying to work for long hours? Are you pretty
I don't,
still
I don't notice that.
good?
I don't,
That's
yeah,
good.
and so yeah, that's something
Distraction.
that I have thought about. Yeah, but when I'm in a lot of pain, painting is a great distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you're focused on that, I don't feel anything.
Yeah. So the artwork helps the pain level.
More than you know, man.
Yeah. You have a
How's
question?
how do you deal with pain nowadays? I mean, do you as it pain since your beginning of your injury? Because I know for me, it's been a lot of years, and I still have pain. It's just that you learn how to deal with it and things like that. But do you have the same experience of pain?
Man, some days. Woo. So what I do is I just smoke a ton of weed,
Yeah,
and that's how I deal with it.
And I
yeah, oh
think
yeah.
you dabble in some gummies, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, edibles. I do. Now I do more edibles than anything. But the trip with the edibles is that sometimes it could take 2 hours for it to kick in,
Yeah,
and sometimes
yeah.
I can't wait that long. So, just a quick smoke or
Tincture?
a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
or
you
I'll do
use
a glass of
CBD
wine.
drops? CBD drops, a tincture? Do you use that?
Every now and then. Well, I only use that when the edibles, I take too many edibles. So I take
Yeah,
the CBD
yeah,
tincture to kind
yeah,
of mellow that out.
yeah.
I think it was a couple of years ago, and we were at the Abilities Expo. And by the way, join us this weekend in Los Angeles at the Abilities Expo. Shawn, if you want to put up the booth number so you can find us for those that are in Southern California and planning to go tomorrow or this weekend. But I remember Richard and I were just sitting there talking, and all of a sudden Richard just leans over and goes, "I am so messed up right now. I am high as a kite." And you're having like I've been talking to you for like 10 minutes and I would have never known, but finally he just leans in, he's just like, "I am so high right now." And
Yeah,
I don't
because
even
the edible kicks in.
yeah.
You can't call it. You don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a lot of times I'll take an edible because I'm in pain, and then I have to go and meet somebody or something, and I totally forgot I took it. Yeah, I hate when that happens.
And are you able to do your artwork when you're high like that?
That's an interesting question. I have a story behind that. So when I was up with my uncle in San Francisco one day after work, my buddy and I saw a bag of weed on the ground. So I swooped it up. Dude, that was some of the best weed I ever had. So I get to my uncle's house and I'm working on a painting, and I'm like, oh, I'm killing this painting, right? And then so I leave. The next day I come back. He meets me at the door and he was like, "What the hell did you do?" And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Come here." And he showed me the painting. Oh man, it was all kinds of awful. And so he was like, "Well, this is I'm going to teach you how to fix it." And so it was good in the end because I learned how to, just reprime. So now to this day, I paint over a lot of paintings I don't like. So you might be getting more than one painting if you buy one of mine.
You use that eraser
But
and
but
find
um
the
but what I realized was that when you smoke, you kind of micro focus on things, and that's what screwed the painting up. So now, if I'm high and I'm painting, I consciously remember to keep an eye on the entire canvas so that I don't overwork anything. And so yeah, I can paint fine.
Interesting. Well, I'm sure maybe Shawn will hit you up. Every year they do on our Tuesday uh, uh, podcast, we do a 420 day. So he might have to hit you up
Oh
and
yeah,
talk about weed more.
hit me up, man. I'm your guy.
Well, we're getting to that top of the hour. I don't know, Luis or Robert, before we get into thanking our sponsors and letting everybody know what's up for our upcoming shows. You guys have any more questions?
No, I'd just like
I
to
want.
meet
Go ahead.
Richard officially in person one day. So yeah, maybe
I'll
take
be
a
at the
ride out to
expo
the
all
gallery.
3 days.
Okay, all right, cool. I'm going to try to get there tomorrow. Hopefully, I can do it.
Right on.
Yeah, I wanted to ask as well. Aside from being an artist, are you as much a fan as you are an artist? Do you
Oh,
look
heck
at
yeah,
and look at other people's work?
all the time. Like my models and I have a thing where we go to museums all the time, or if there's a special like the Basquiat show, one of my models, we always go to these shows, the LA Art Show, and
Hmm.
yeah, that's what we do.
Sweet.
Yeah, because I don't know if people out there know this, but Los Angeles has such a collection of galleries, halls, museums, all kinds of places
Yeah,
to go. This is a wonderful place to be an artist,
yeah,
and living in such a place is just, fantastic.
And
right.
one
No,
thing,
I couldn't live anywhere else.
one question I have for you, Richard, or my last question would be, for somebody watching this and like, they kind of can, sketch out some stuff. How does one get started, or, what would be your best advice of somebody getting started into doing some more artwork, or how to get up into that, selling your artwork, kind of like I know you and there's another gentleman that we've had on our show, Tommy Hollenstein. You two are the ones that I know that get in the galleries, but how can somebody get started to where they might be able to get to that kind of level?
Jeez, man. It really it takes a lot of time and patience and hard work. I mean, to make it into a gallery, you really have to be dedicated. And if you set that as your goal and you work, study, sketch every chance you can get, and then try to refine your technique, and you know, eventually you can you start to visit galleries and ask them, what is your submission process? And you start gathering all this information. Then when you're ready, you start submitting and keep your fingers crossed. But I would say start doing smaller shows first, like chocolate and art or pancakes and booze, those kind of shows.
Mhm.
Yeah, start with that. And then from there, you can, eventually start to try to approach galleries and see who will take you on.
Is
And
that
every gallery is different too. Like how they, you know, it's like the contract that you have with them. Everyone is different, so you just have to find the one that fits you best.
cool? And is that McLovin barking there?
No, 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 that's Portia, the gallery dog.
Okay.
She
I
barks whenever people come in.
Richard has a dog named McLovin, so it's pretty funny.
Yeah, my dog. I'll try to bring him Saturday to the expo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Robert, you want to give a little shout out again to our sponsors and let the people know who support our channel here? You're on mute, Robert. I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Got it. Hey,
Yeah.
I'd like to give another thanks to our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals. As I indicated earlier, they're a great and helpful group of experts that are part of the community. They're at events. You'll see them there this weekend at the expo. Uh, if you need wheelchair or rehab equipment or anything like that, mobility professionals located here in Southern California can take care of you. Give them a call and shout them out, and let them know that you were watching us here on the Live to Roll channel. And also, their parent or sister company, Urology Professionals, is a national company, so they'll take care of all your urological needs, and they both will have booths at the expo this weekend. So great group, always involved with our community and events, and they're a big help and great group of people.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks. And don't forget to check us out, our upcoming shows. Monday, we got Sarab. He's talking about technology and gaming and, computer stuff. So check out Sarab, our new addition to our Live to Roll. And then on Tuesdays, we're always here every Tuesday at 3:30. Thursdays is our 3 o'clock show, so don't forget that. 3 o'clock is our Thursday, but Tuesday is at 3:30 with Shawn and Tom, and we usually have our guests. We're always here the second and fourth Thursday, and don't forget about our women's edition show. We got our Rolling with the Oldies. They're always the first Thursday. And then we got Brianna. She's always the third Thursday. Sorry about that. And they're Wheel Girl Talk. So check them out. We can we're our all of our YouTube casts are on Spotify or any of your podcasts that you get to. And sorry, I almost forgot. Tom is every Wednesday with T Fizzle. So he was on last night. So check him out. He's gaming and get in there, hit that like button. If you're watching now, make sure you smash that like button. Richard, thank you so much. It was
Thank you. Good
fun to have
meeting
you. But
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
yeah,
All right,
we're
Richard.
gonna have to
Thank
definitely
you, Richard.
come out, check out some of your gallery work, and support you there. And we'll see you at the Abilities Expo this weekend. Come check us out at booth 417. We're on the end. We got a big corner booth this weekend, so hopefully we won't block the aisle too much this time.
Party booth.
There
Yeah.
you go.
But
Yep.
Richard, are you going to be any place in particular at the show? Or are you going to be roaming wild?
I'm gonna be rolling out, man, all over the place.
Okay.
There you
But I'll
go.
be at booth 417 probably a lot.
There you
Nice.
go.
Right.
Well, Richard, man, as always, thanks for being a friend to me as well. And him and I have a special love for Formula One. So when we're watching Formula One, unfortunately, same shit this year, but different. Hopefully
Yeah,
next year we
I'm
can.
looking forward to next year. Yeah, next year is gonna be epic.
Yeah, especially with Hamilton moving over to Ferrari and some other big moves.
Right.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks a lot
All
for
right.
joining us.
Thank you.
Hit that like button and live to roll.
Live to